Hello, this is Rezarat from RedaCAD. In this video, I'm going to talk about Power Query template, what it is, how it can be helpful in your Power BI or Microsoft Fabric solution, and we will take a look at an example for that. If you worked with Power BI or Microsoft Fabric in general, or Excel, anywhere that you have worked with Power Query, one of the challenges usually is how do you save that Power Query project? Like for example, in Power BI Desktop, you might have built a solution which includes some Power Query transformations, some functions, queries, parameters, M scripts, and you want to migrate it from one place to another place. Or in Excel, you have done that, or in data flows, anywhere that you actually have used Power Query Editor to build a solution, how you can save it. Up until recently, there wasn't a way to save that solution. So the only way was to save the file that Power Query is embedded into it. For example, if you are using Power Query inside Excel, you would have saved Excel file. Or if you use Power Query inside Power BI Desktop, you would have saved the Power BI Desktop file, which is not Power Query only, it is also including some other things. And that makes it hard to just extract the Power Query code part of it. When you save the Power Query part as a file, this can open up a lot of opportunities. So recently, Microsoft announced Power Query templates. This is in June this year, along with many other features that came with Microsoft Fabric, such as Data Factory, data pipelines, Data Flow Gen 2. We also have Power Query template, which is not much actually recognized as a new feature. There are not many information about it, although I think this is a really important feature, which I want to talk about it. So what is a Power Query template? A Power Query template is what you actually would need if you want to save your Power Query work. So if I have done some work in Power Query Editor, as you can see here in this Data Flow Online Editor, I have created some tables. Let's say these might include some transformations. I might also have some functions, parameters, whatever I have done inside this Power Query Editor, I might want to save it as a file. And that is what Power Query template is about. Now, this can be inside Power Query Editor Online, or it can be inside Power Query in Power BI Desktop, or in Power Query Editor in Excel. This Power Query template at the moment, it's a very new feature. It's not available everywhere. You have it inside Power Query Online Editor in Dataflow. You also have it in Excel, but it's a private preview. Not everyone have access to it. Only Office insiders have access to that, and not yet in Microsoft Power BI Desktop. So I believe this would come later on in that. What is not included in this template? This template does include everything inside the Power Query Editor, but not outside of it. For example, the schedule refresh of the data flow doesn't include that. The data flow ID, it wouldn't include that. Anything around linking this with, let's say, other data sets or anything like that after you publish it into Power BI Desktop. This does not include that, but it includes M scripts, the parameters, functions, the queries or tables, everything that you need to migrate one Power Query solution from one place to another place. So how does it work? Let me show you that. So inside a data flow, that is one of the first places you can check it out, you can actually see this option. Even you are inside the data flow, you can see this option that is export template. This is Power Query template, and it works really easily. You can just click on export template. You'll just specify a name for it, sample data flow template, for example. You can put some descriptions if you want, and you just click on OK. This would save the file as a PQT, which is a Power Query template, and here is the file. Now this file can be used when you want to import it. So let's say if I close this data flow, and if I want to create a new data flow, and I'm creating a new Dataflow Gen 2 because creation of Dataflow Gen 1 doesn't include importing from template yet. Now here, one of the options you see is import from a Power Query template. So I can go to import Power Query template. I'll choose this template, and this will basically bring everything that I had in the other one. I didn't have much of complex transformation, but you see all of my queries, all of tables. If I had any functions or parameters, they would have all come. The only thing you need to set up is that because the connection came but not the credentials of that, you need to click on this and set up the credentials for that, which wouldn't be a big job. The main thing is that you can easily migrate a solution from one place to another place with just Power Query template. Now this Power Query template can be generated from Excel, and then you import it in a Dataflow. This Power Query template can be generated in Dataflow Gen 1, which is what we used to call Power BI Dataflows. I'll just show you that. Like if I go to, for example, one of the places that I have some Gen 1 Dataflow, like for example here. So here I might have some data flows already. Yep, for example, this is a data flow. I can go to the edit of that data flow. Now this data flow in particular doesn't seem to be working fine. Let me just find another data flow. So this data flow, anyway, doesn't seem to like the change that I want to make in these data flows. But if I go to any of the data flows that I've created recently, which I want to just show you one example of that, you should be able to export it and then import it. So this is, for example, another Dataflow Gen 1. You see the export template, and then in the Dataflow Gen 2 I can import it. So one big benefit of this Power Query template is obvious. You can migrate between technologies. You might say, well, it is not yet available in Power BI Desktop, but it will be available soon in a lot of platforms. This is new. I expect this to become available very soon in many places. So that is one thing, migration. Another thing is about what is coming in the future. With this, you can now save your entire Power Query work in single file. This means that now you can do version controlling. We don't have it yet, but this would be possible soon in the future using JIT or any other version controlling applications or softwares and services. You can actually use that. This will bring Power Query to the world of enterprise, because Power Query was a citizen data analyst tool for a long time. Now with combining this with Microsoft Fabric Data Factory, with combining it with data pipeline so that it becomes wrapper around the whole Power Query template, around data flow, you have the data transformation power of Power Query combined with the control flow of the data pipeline. Now we have also Power Query template that also brings some extra things around it, such as version controlling, probably more software development life cycle in the future. So a lot of things can happen on that. There are features in Power in every tool that might not be a really complicated feature. For example, if you look at query folding in Dataflow or Power Query, that is a complicated feature. It requires a lot of setup behind the scene. But something like Power Query template is not complicated, but it can be really helpful. The structure of this is that this is a zipped file, which I can actually unzip it. For example, I can rename this. So I'll show you a little bit of behind the scene of this as well. So if I rename it to zip, and then if I unzip this, or let's say if I extract it, then what you see is that this includes a folder with a number of files, and these files include the metadata, everything you need for your Power Query solution. And the most important one in here is the mashup document, which if I bring it here, this actually includes the Power Query actual queries. So this is the MS script for each of the queries that I have. So quite useful thing, this Power Query template. I strongly recommend go and check it out. I think this is the one giant leap in Power Query for many years. You might disagree with me on that, but I believe this would be a really important thing for more adoption and usage of Power Query in enterprise environment and in any other environments. Now you would be able to do more migration from one platform to another platform. It would make things much easier to embed Power Query in a lot of other places, and you would see more of Power Query in other places. I love to hear more about you. What do you think about this feature? But I think it is a great addition into the Power BI and Microsoft Fabric in general. I hope you liked this video. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe into our YouTube channel. We have weekly videos on Power BI and Microsoft Fabric. Until the next video, bye.